Welcome along to the next video in our 3D modeling series where we are creating ourselves a scooter. In today's video we're going to be making this fork section for the scooter, which basically holds the front wheel in between these black bits, and the pink tube up the top here is what our handlebars will hang out of. Okay, so there's a few curly parts to making this whatever shape it is. Okay, we'll call it the fork. It's not too hard, so let's get into it. So we'll start today by making a new file using a metric template and a standard millimeter part. We'll begin with a 2D sketch on the XZ plane, which is the base plane here. We're going to grab the circle tool, click on the origin, which is that center point, drag out and type in 28 millimeters. Okay, you need a 28 mil circle. Once you've got that, press enter and finish the sketch. We need to extrude this 28 millimeter circle now, and we're going to do that by clicking the extrude button at the top and making its distance a total of 165 millimeters. Click OK, and this is the tube section of our fork. Alright, I want you to zoom in now on the top edge of this shape just by scrolling on your mouse and choosing the chamfer button from your ribbon up the top here. Leave the distance at 2 millimeters and simply click on the top circle. Okay, not in the middle there, just want to click on the edge when it highlights white, and you'll see that that chamfers the edges. Okay, so that looks a little bit nicer. Next thing you need to do is just hollow out this tube as well by using the shell feature in Inventor. So up the top here, you've got the shell feature in your ribbon. Click on that. Make the thickness 3 millimeters. And simply click on this top face, anywhere in the middle of the top face, and click OK. And that basically hollows out your cylinder. Anything it doesn't do, it doesn't cut through to the other side, but everything else inside there is done. If you look at the base, it's still solid. Okay, that's fine, that's what we want for this task. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a sketch on the bottom of this cylinder. So start another 2D sketch and click on the base this time. Once we're on the base, zoom in a little bit there, we're going to draw another circle straight out of the origin. So click on the center point, drag out, and make this circle 36 millimeters and press enter. We're just going to draw a few lines while we're here. So we're going to grab the line tool now, and it needs to come pretty much level with that center point there. So I'm going to hover over that center point and then just move my mouse out to the side so it follows that center line. Now our line needs to be 25 millimeters in size, so we're going to click once and drag directly down at 90 degrees and type in 25 and press enter. That's going to give us a straight line running down the page. Just press escape so we can see that 25 mil line. Now we're going to dimension this line, so grab your dimension tool here. We wanted a certain distance from the center point of this circle, so click on the center point of that circle. Click on this line, drag down the bottom here, and the distance I want you to make it is 32.5 millimeters and press enter. Okay, so we have a 25 mil line that is 32.5 mil from the center of that circle. Okay, moving on, we're still going to draw some more lines, so I want you to go and grab your line tool again. This time it's going to start from the top of the line we just drew. And I want you to come over to this circle and just rest it on this circle here. Don't click yet though. I want you to slowly move around the circle, and in a moment you'll see that your mouse snaps into a certain position. So I'm just going to keep moving, bang, it snaps. And you can see that is at 27.060 millimeters in size. That's how big yours should be, so 27.06. Click once you've got that. And now this line is a perfect tangent. Alright, that's why it was snapping into position over there. Alright, so that one's all good. We're going to draw one more line now that comes out the bottom of this line over here. So I want you to click on the bottom of this line and go and join it to this center line somewhere. Doesn't really matter where yet, as long as it's on that center line. Okay, so you can zoom in if you want. Make sure it hits that center line. Press escape when you're done. Okay, now we're just going to dimension the tip of this line you just drew and the center of that circle, and make sure that they are 30 millimeters apart. Okay, so the way we do that is click the dimension tool at the top, click the center of the circle, and click the very tip of this green line down the bottom. Okay, don't click the line itself, you just want to select the very tip. Click and drag to the left here, and remember 30 millimeters is the dimension we want. Okay, and you can press escape. That's looking pretty good. So the next thing we need to do now, these three lines we've just drawn, I want to mirror them over to the other side of the circle over here. Okay, we can do that quite easily in Inventor. First of all, we just need to draw a construction line. So grab your line tool, grab this red button here which turns construction lines on, and we're going to draw a construction line from the center of this circle. So click on that, drag down below all of your geometry somewhere, just so it's below everything else you've drawn. It has to run down that center line though. Okay, once you've done that, click and then press escape. And while it is hard to see, you have got a dashed line that runs from the center of that circle now to just below all the geometry. And that's going to be the line that we're going to use as the mirror line. So basically everything on this right side of that line is going to be mirrored over to the left side of the line. Alright, so the way we do this is we've got the top and we've got a mirror option here inside the little pattern section on our ribbon. So click on mirror. Now the first thing we need to select here is what we want to mirror. So I'm going to click on the three lines that I just drew. Don't worry about the circles, just the three lines, and you'll see that they highlight in a blue color once you've got those three lines selected. Once you've got them selected, come across here and click on the mirror line option and come down and choose the mirror line in your sketch. Okay, it will highlight blue as well. Click apply when you're done, and you'll see now that you get the same geometry on either side of that construction line. So you can click on done now. The last thing to do now is just trim out the circle inside of our shape here. So I'm going to grab the trim tool from up in our ribbon and simply come down here and click on this part of the circle. That will trim it away, and come over here and trim away that part of the circle. Press escape, and you can see now this is the only part of the circle that is left, that little arc at the top. And that encloses our shape, which means we can now extrude it. So finish the sketch for me, and you'll see your sketch sitting there below our tube. So what we're going to do next is extrude it by 7 millimeters. So click extrude, make sure the distance is set to 7, and click OK. Alright, and now you can see that our tube sits nicely in this shape we've just drawn. Alrighty. So, next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a new work plane to draw on. Alright, so at the top, what I'm going to get you to do is hit the plane option and choose plane. Before we go any further, come over to the browser and expand your origin folder and select the YZ plane. Actually, it's going to be YZ, or it's going to be XY. It's going to be XY for me actually. I'm going to click on that. It's the one that's running straight through the center of that tube, like so. Okay, so it could be XY on yours, it could be YZ. Just depends what way we built this shape. So mine's XY at the moment. So once we've got that selected, what I want you to do is just hover around your shape and you'll see these different work planes appear. The one you want to get is this one just here. Okay, so look carefully where it is on the base and click on it once you've got it selected, and that will add that work plane into your document. So you can see it's just touching the edge of our cylinder. We're going to draw on that work plane very shortly. Before we do that though, we just want to sketch onto the bottom of this rectangle. Alrighty, so just make a new 2D sketch for me and click on the bottom. It's not a rectangle, it's a weird shape, but the base of your shape. So we're going to click on that and do a sketch. Zoom in. Okay, grab your rectangle tool. And we're simply going to start in the bottom right hand corner. Wait till your mouse has that little green circle below it. Click, drag up to this center line, and the width that I want you to make this is 6 millimeters. Okay, so it's a 6 millimeter wide rectangle, 25 mils in height. Press enter. It's going to look something like that. Okay, so zooming back a bit now, I'm just going to finish that sketch off. And what we're going to do next is we're going to draw some more lines onto this new work plane that we just drew before, or got up before. So this orange one here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a 2D sketch, and we're going to do it on this work plane. Can't click on the middle of it, you've got to click towards the edges, and you'll see that it highlights like that. You'll even see its name appear if you're in the right spot. So if I swing it around, you'll see that its name appears when you hover over it and get it selected. Click on it once it's highlighted there, and we're going to start work around the other side. Okay, so when you zoom in, you should see 3 sections, 1, 2, and 3. You also see a little 6mm wide rectangle hiding down there as well. Okay, make sure you've got that on the right hand side of your drawing here. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to click the project geometry button first of all, and we're going to get this line just here to pop through onto this work plane so we can see it. So click project geometry and simply click on this line here when it highlights white. Once you click on it once, press escape. That'll turn off your project geometry tool, and you'll see you've got a yellow line here now. That line has been projected up to this work plane. Alright, so let's get back to this view. Now we're going to draw a few lines that come off this yellow line. Alright, so grab your line tool up the top, and we're going to draw from this bottom corner and straight down. So you're heading down at 90 degrees. The size of the line you want to put in is 42mm, and press enter. Zoom out a little bit and you'll see that. And keep your line tool selected so you can add to this. Alright, we're going to move left next of all at 90 degrees as well, so another perfectly straight line. We're going to go across 12mm. Okay. You just get that perfectly straight and press enter. Then we're going to come down again, perfectly straight at 90 degrees again, and it's going to be a 26mm line this time. We're going to press enter, and to finish that off, whoops, zooming out, we'll just press escape. So you've got 3 lines, 1, 2, 3 there in blue. Alright, we're going to fillet these sharper edges here now, all these corners. So the way we do that is we just go up the top and choose the fillet tool. The size of the fillet needs to be 7.5mm to start with, and simply click on this corner. That just rounds that corner out. And the next size that we're going to need is 3.5mm, and we're going to click on this corner just here. Not quite as big, that fillet. Close the fillet box off and you'll see now we've got a kind of an S-bend going on here. Just smooth those edges out. Alright, we can click on finish now. And I'm just going to zoom back around so we can see this sketch underneath. There we go, looks something like that. What we're going to do is make this 3D, not by using Extrude, but we're going to use the sweep tool. Okay. When we get sweep, the profile here you want to select is this rectangle. Okay, it already did it for me. Okay, and it highlights blue. So hopefully it already does it for you when you press that. Next thing we're going to do is grab the path tool here. And we just need to select the path that we want this sweep to run along. Okay, and that's this one just here. So when you click that, you get this 3D extrusion basically, or a sweep. That's what we're doing here. So we can click OK once we get that. And that looks pretty nice. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. This work plane we can get rid of now, so just hover over the edge and right click on it and turn its visibility here off. That just gets rid of it. Now, zooming in on this shape, this section running through here, this line here, we're just going to fillet that by 6mm and smooth it out. So up the top, choose your fillet option, make the radius 6mm. Okay, and the edge we're going to select is this one just here. And you can click OK once you've got that done. So click OK. We zoom out now, you've got a nice fillet running through there. I'm going to do another fillet, and it's going to be on these bottom edges now. So click the fillet tool again. The size of the radius is going to be 8mm this time, so a little bit bigger. And the edges we want is this one here and that one there. Okay, so as I swing that shape around, you've now got 2 really smooth edges. We'll click OK on that. Alright, so I'm going to flip my shape around. We'll just get it back to this view. I'm going to get it up the right way. Basically up this way. That's what we should be looking at now. Alright, and what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on the part we just drew down here. We're looking at this face here in particular. What what we're going to do is we're going to make a new work plane. Okay, so we're going to go up here and select plane, and we're going to click on the face here and then drag out. Okay, I want you to actually write in 2.5 into the box. So it's a new work plane that's 2.5 millimeters from the face that we just selected. We'll press enter. Okay, and you can see that work plane is just sitting off that face. Alright, we're going to do a new sketch on that work plane. So grab the new sketch option up here and remember to click around the edge when it highlights and click that work plane. You'll see it selected down here. First thing you want to do is project some geometry. We're going to select this bottom line just here. So it highlights white, and when you click it and move your mouse away, it goes yellow. Press escape to turn off your project geometry tool now, and we're going to draw ourselves a circle. Okay, we're going to use the center of this yellow line as a bit of a guide, so hover over that center bit and it turns green. Then we're going to move up. Okay, you'll see that dashed line come up with you as a bit of a guide. Okay, it doesn't matter how far you go up just yet, but we're just going to click somewhere around the center and we're going to drag out an 8mm diameter circle. Type in 8mm and press enter. We're then going to dimension the center of that circle to that line. Okay, and come out the side there. It needs to be 10 millimeters. Press enter. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to draw another circle now. Oh, sorry, not another circle. We're going to draw a square. So grab your rectangle tool here, and we're going to choose the 2-point center rectangle. And this time we're going to start right on the center of that circle, click and drag out, and it needs to be a 10 by 10 square. So make it 10 and 10 in those boxes. Press enter. Finish your sketch now, and you should have a square and a circle on that work plane. Okay. Now we're going to do another sketch on the face behind that work plane. So back onto the grey shape here. Okay, so start a 2D sketch and click this grey face, not this work plane, this grey face here. Alright, so we're just going to zoom back a little bit and come down so we can see what we're sketching on down here. And I'm going to press F7 on my keyboard. Okay, if you press F7, it hides all our line work on that plane that we were just working on. Okay, and basically we're going to draw in a rectangle. So up the top here with the rectangle, you can grab your 2-point center rectangle again. What we're going to do is we're going to hover around this bottom line until we get that green circle appearing, which shows we've got the center. Then we're going to come up using that dashed line as a guide, and somewhere around the middle, doesn't matter where, we're just going to click and drag out. Now the bottom line that you want to put in is going to be 10 mils. The other one is going to be 20 mils. So 10 wide, 20 high. Press enter, and you'll get a circle looking something like that. Alright, we're going to dimension the bottom of this rectangle to the bottom of the shape. So grab your dimension tool, click on the bottom of this rectangle, click on the bottom of the shape, come out to the side and make that 2 millimeters for me. So that just pushes the rectangle 2 millimeters off the bottom of that shape. And that gets it into the right position, so we can click on finish now. Okay, so now we've got that rectangle drawn over here. We've got some other shapes drawn on this work plane. So what we're going to do now is basically join these two faces up. Okay, we're not going to extrude them, but we're going to use a tool called Loft. Okay, and it can be a little bit confusing, this Loft tool. So when you click on Loft, the first thing you need to do is click on the first shape. Okay, this big rectangle on the grey face. That was the larger rectangle we drew. When you click on it, it selects it. Okay, then we're going to come over here and say click to add, and we're going to click on that. We're going to add one more face. It's this square over here. Okay, so to select that square, looks like we just have to select the whole thing. Okay, okay, once we select it, then we can select that square. That's it. And that should be all we need to do. So it should be all highlighted in blue, and when we click OK, we've made ourselves a loft. So you can see that the square on the original face has extruded out basically and joined the square that was on this face. Okay. So we can hide this work plane now, so just hover over the edge of it. When it's highlighted, right click and turn the visibility off. This is how our loft should be looking. Alright, so in the browser, I'm going to go to the loft over here. I'm just going to expand that little loft feature, and you'll see a couple of sketches underneath there. Alright, what we want to do is we want to turn on the visibility of this sketch here, so the one with the square and the circle on it. Okay, yours might be sketch 6, might be a different name. Anyway, it's this one that looks like this. So what you need to do is just right click on it and look for the visibility option. Just turn it back on. Okay, so now we can see our sketch on top of our geometry over here. Okay, what we're going to do is basically extrude this circle. So grab the extrude tool, click on that circle, and we don't want it to extrude out, we actually want it to cut back in on itself. Okay, so I'm going to choose 2 next for the extents, and make sure that this option here, the second one, cut, is selected as well. Alright, you can click OK. You can see now we've put a hole straight through that little loft we just did. You can go back over to your loft feature here in this sketch 6, whatever your sketch is called, right click on it, turn the visibility back off. Okay, and if we zoom back out now, you can see what that's done at a wider scale. So all we basically need to do now is mirror this section just here that we've drawn on over to the other side of the fork. Okay, to save us creating it all again, we'll just mirror all of this geometry over to this side. Okay, and that will have us almost finished. So what we need to do is we need to pop up to our origin folder here and expand it. Okay, we're looking for a work plane that runs straight through the center of our shape. So hover over the work planes. Which one is it? It was the first one there, the YZ plane. So I'm going to right click on that and turn its visibility on. Okay, and what that does is that gives us that work plane permanently there now. And we're basically going to mirror what's on this side over to the other side of the work plane. So to mirror, you need to go up the top here into your pattern section of the ribbon and choose this little button here with the grey and blue shape. That's the mirror shape. And we need to now go and select all the features that we would like to mirror. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is select all the fillets that we did. So we did 2 fillets on the bottom here, 1, 2, and we did 1 fillet up here, 3. Okay, we also did the sweep, so that's this S kind of shape here. That's all selected, looking good. After the sweep we did the loft, which was this shape, and then we also did this hole down here where we extrude cut that. So that's got everything selected that I think we need selected now. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, and now we're going to choose mirror plane over here in our little dialog box. So what do we want to use as our center point? We're going to use this plane here. Alright, so I'll select that. And you can see now it's going to mirror it over to the other side. That looks pretty good. If you're happy with that, click on OK. And you've now mirrored what was on the left side over to the right side. Okay, so I'm going to go over to this YZ plane now in my folders and just turn the visibility back off. You can see how that's looking. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. I'm going to do another new sketch now. If we flip it around this way, this face here is where we want to do another sketch. Okay, so start a 2D sketch for me and choose that face. Alright, what we're going to do is note this small little yellow dot that appears. Okay, remember that. Finish sketch. Okay, we don't even have to draw anything, we're just noting this little yellow dot that's appeared. Alright, and we'll click finish sketch. There's that yellow dot still there. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to choose hole from the ribbon up here. We're going to do a little hole right on that yellow dot. Okay, so just push that box off to the side and we're going to choose that yellow dot and we get ourselves a little hole. Click on OK. Alright, and you can see now we've got a hole. That goes through to the rest of our tube up there. Okay, it doesn't need to be too big. Finish off now, we might just do a little bit of tidying up, chamfer some edges, fillet a few edges and things like that. So I'm going to grab my chamfer tool first of all. Make sure my distance is 2mm and we're going to chamfer this edge here and the same edge on the other side, just like that. Click OK. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of filleting. Zoom out a little bit here. We're going to head up the top now to do this fillet. Just click the fillet tool there at the top. In your dialog box, make sure your radius is set to 2 mil. And the edge mode, select mode, we want to change it from edge to loop. And I'll zoom in a little bit here. We want to select this side face. So I'll just spin around, select that. Do the same on the other side, so hover over it and select that. So as you can see by pressing loop, instead of just selecting one edge, it selects a whole bunch of edges for us. Saves a bit of time. Up the top here, this one can be a little bit tricky to select, so I might just do it. There we go. Got it first go. That's what we want to select it on the top. So the sides and this top face. Make sure you've got the same stuff highlighted in blue as I do. When you do, you can click OK. And that'll give it a 2 mil fillet and just smooth out some of those edges. So that's our fork all done. Last thing we need to do now is just colour it in. Okay, so to colour it in, head up to your appearance panel up the top. I'm going to search for magenta first of all. There it is. I'll highlight this tube. And I'm just going to hover over magenta and click the up arrow. Might even click on the face here and click magenta, so it colours it in. Let's have a look inside. We want that coloured in magenta as well. That looks pretty good. Okay, next one we want is blue. We're looking for the sky blue option. Here it is here, the medium one. Okay, we want to click on this area around here. Just holding down shift and selecting all these different faces. A bit of a painful job. Probably on the underside of it as well. Something like that. Oh, we get a few around this side as well. Once you've got it selected, then you can go and apply the sky blue medium to it. That'll look something like that. We nearly got them all. Just forgot that little one there. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then we just want to get these bits down the side here into black. Oh, so we should get that little hole there. Make that blue. Oh. There we go, make that blue. Okay, and these bits down the side here, so let's type in black. The black we're looking for is black cast, I think, so let's highlight some of this. Didn't highlight much, did it? Try and get a bit more. There we go, that's looking better. Yeah, they're all selected, so I'll get the black cast onto them. And just notice this last little bit here wasn't done, so we'll just put the sky blue back on that. And we can close our appearance panel now and zoom out. And we've now got ourselves a fork that is fully made and fully coloured. Looks awesome. Alright, so save that up as the fork. Whoops, and I'll see you in the next video.